Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the Summer Nations series. This one also a rematch, just like the last game between England and Wales. France taking on Scotland. Now, what happened at Murrayfield made a lot of Scottish supporters very happy. The Scottish side digging deep. Xander Fagerson, he has currently got himself a 3-match ban, but his side, even without him, for those final moments, able to get themselves that victory. Although France, they have seen that and they have completely changed their lineup for this contest. A lot of the old names coming back in, the experienced players, and it's going to be a great test for Scotland in this game to see whether or not they can do it again in this game also taking place in France this week. But looking through at the starting lineup for the French, it will be Cyril Bailly in the front row alongside Julien Marchand and Aldeguerri at number 3, whose name I just butchered. Cameron Walkie at number 4 with Flamand at 5. Then at number 6, they have gone with Charles Olivon. Charles Olivon at 7. Borihint at number 6. And Gregory Eldred, the man at number 8. Antoine Dupont and Romain Intermac, a dangerous combination. We know how Antoine Dupont can be, getting the French on the front foot. Plays for Toulouse in the top 14, and having Intermac on his outside certainly going to bring the fireworks. Jonathan Dante at number 12 with Galfiku on his outside. At number 13, Villiers out on the left, Damien Pinot out on the right, and Thomas Ramos at number 15. So I believe of the side, if I'm not wrong, the only player almost to keep his spot is probably Cameron Walkie. I believe almost every single other person has been replaced here. So France, they're bringing out the big guns and they are ready to go for this game. In France, 27 degrees Celsius is the temperature and also 12 miles per hour of wind. So not hugely too much there. For the Scottish, they've gone with a relatively similar side to what they did have last week. Pierre Scorman in the front row alongside George Turner, and also WP Nell at 3. That is due to the card that we saw for Xander Fagerson. Richie Gray at number 4 and Grant Gilchrist at 5, unchanged from what they had last week. Jamie Ritchie at 6, Rory Darge at number 7, so no Hamish Watson in the starting lineup, and Jack Dempsey is there at number 8. Ali Price and Finn Russell, the 19 combo, Sione Tuipulotu and Hugh Jones in the midfield. A lot of power there, and they will need it because going head-to-head with this French side, we know that they're going to have a lot of pace. So you've got to try and match that pace with a bit of aggression of your own, bit of power, try and bump off the tackles, create the gaps for the men on the outside, which does involve Duan van der Merwe at 11, Cole Steyn at number 14, and Blair Kinghorn there as the number 15. But looking through at the chat, we have got Spring Scots, aka the Scott Box, says Marco France, I think, but you never know. Scotland are number 5. So number 3 versus number 5 if Scotland win. I'll be worried as an Irish fan, says Brian. And also we have got their username. If you put money on that, you can me, says Brian. And Scotland to win 63-5 is the prediction there. I tell you what, I don't think it's quite going to be that one-sided. I hope that it's a relatively close fixture, but I have that feeling that France, after last week's loss, they've decided they're going to come out here absolutely blazing and try and make a statement before heading into this World Cup. And the thing is, Scotland will not want that. They have been able to prove themselves that when they get it right, they can be a real threat for anyone they're going head-to-head with. We do see in the Rugby World Cup pools, Scotland, they're in a tough group alongside South Africa. They've got Ireland, Romania, and Tonga as their last side. Whereas France, they are in Pool A alongside New Zealand and Italy, and also Uruguay and Namibia, but they'll be backing themselves as a home side to be able to go far. I do hope we get to see some great action throughout this game. The last game between Wales and England, it was relatively slow building. We didn't see a try in the first half. I believe that this half will have a lot more points being scored though. And yeah, do let me know who you think the first try scorer will be in this game, ladies and gentlemen. Last week, here is the score, 25-21 in favour of Scotland at home. They are now away, and they have got an angry French side in front of them that want to make a big difference in this game compared to the last. These are the games next week as well, I should mention. France are going to be taking on the Flying Fijians. That is at 7:05 a.m. And then for Scotland, they actually don't have a game. They have got a bye for the next week of international fixtures, but the two sides just making their way out of the tunnel. We have got a super sticker in there as well, a try 55. How did you do that, Brian? Did you write try? I assume you wrote try, and that's actually come up. That's kind of cool. Oh, no, wait. Yeah, unless it's a currency. Maybe it's a currency, and it's just come out as try, because if so, that is kind of cool. And brilliant after the England game, at least two decent sides, says Akaris. Shame no Ferguson. Means there won't be as many cards as the last match, says username. Good on you, Hamish, says Brian. And also, Hamish, bro, midnight in India. It's 12:30 a.m. local time, says Michelle. It's Turkish money. See, I thought you had somehow broken the system and managed to write try. And I was like, that's really cool that you were able to write a message and send a super sticker. But now we know Turkish money equals TRY for the try. And first try, Dupont, if he is playing, did not catch the side, says Akaris, so he is indeed. During the national anthems, we'll put the sides up again so that you can see exactly how it is out there. I'm predicting your South African will score the first. High chance of it happening in it, says Mako Vunapola. I know that Duan van der Merwe, he will be extremely keen to get his hands on the ball early, trying to run straight at Villiers, who's a little bit of an underrated player in this French backline with what he was able to do in the last year's November internationals. Damien Pinot, though, tries scoring sensation out on the right. Thomas Ramos at the back, so they have switched from Bryce Doolan, but this is the French starting lineup. In fact, we'll go with Scotland, seeing as they are doing their national anthem just currently. Pierre Skurman in the front row alongside George Turner and WP. Now Richie Gray and Grant Gilchrist, the locking duo. Jamie Ritchie at 6, Rory Darge at 7, and Jack Dempsey keeps his spot as the number 8, Ali Price and Finn Russell, the 9-10, Sione Tuipulotu and Hugh Jones in the midfield, and Duan van der Merwe, Kyle Steyn and Blair Kinghorn going to be the back three for Scotland. So they've gone with a strong lineup yet again. It is what they did last week. They did find success with the same side last week, so they thought, why not only adjust it marginally to make sure that it is still firing for the French. The home side, Cyril Bailly, Julien Marchand and El Dehegri at number 3. Cameron Walkie and Flamand as the two locks. And like I mentioned, I believe Cameron Walkie, one of the only players to actually keep his spot in this French side. Borient at number 6. Charles Olivon at 7. And Gregory Aldrit there as the number 8. Antoine Dupont and Romain Intermac. That's going to be an entertaining combo to watch. I believe they'll really try and put pressure on Ali Price and Finn Russell early, although saying that, Scotland, they've actually got a pretty good 19 combo for this game as well. Jonathan Dante at number 12, Galfiku at number 13, and then Villiers, Damien Pinot and Thomas Ramos going to be the back three for France. Few notable names off the bench. We do see the youngster there, Bale Barre, whose name I cannot pronounce, but we will get there by the World Cup. He was able to get himself a try last week. Also narrowly escaped that yellow card. Gru and Antonio coming off the bench, as well as Sekou Makalu at number 21. Always talented player to watch. George Horn off the bench. Sam Skinner also in that front row. Rory Sutherland, that loose head prop. And Ollie Smith at 23. Currently the French national anthem being actually sung, what's it called? A cappella. That's when there's no music, isn't it? So they have certainly got home field advantage for this game. Bourret, they were just showing he is going to be coming off the bench. And that's one, Hamish, bro. I like your jacket collection. It's nice every time you look awesome. Says, Shal, thank you very much, mate. I got a different hoodie on today, mainly because it's quite cold. It's currently 3 degrees Celsius where I am, so I thought I'd better wear a relatively big one. Try and keep slightly warm. First try the point. And every time the team gets a try, Brian has to send a sticker. Says username there. Although there is also, if I'm not wrong, I might be though, we've got a try emoji. Maybe. It used to be this one. Is that still a members emoji, ladies and gentlemen? Do any of the members know whether or not that is still one? But we had the TRY up there, and Brian's got his own form. We've got Go Panthers from Kurt. How are you going, Kurt? We didn't see you for about 3 months. I was worried that your ship may have gone incognito, but I hope you are keeping well. Hope you've been enjoying the action. Scotland last week, fantastic performance to get themselves the victory over the French. They'll be looking to make it 2 from 2 in this one. And out of that Tame Plumtree, number 8, play for Wales earlier on. Sadly, didn't go too flash. He did go a lot better in the first game up against England, and now he might be injured, which is a little bit of a concern for them. But the back line for Scotland, Van der Merwe out on one wing, Stein out on the other, Kinghorn at 15, Russell at 10, giving that little bit of freedom to be able to just go for it, see what happens. That's the thing, up against the French, we got the super sticker from Kerr as well. Thank you very much, mate. Usually appreciated. And like I said, it's good to see you. Hopefully everything's been going smoothly. The funny thing is, since you were last in the stream, you've probably been to like 10 different countries, if not more, Kerr. Maybe even closer to the 20. So hopefully you've been getting plenty of breaks in between. The super sticker, just loaded up. It is, of course, the Hype Hippo. The good old Hippo. It's made its appearance a few times throughout the past. It's been a tall order for Scotland to win here. It'll be a tall order against a full-strength France in their own backyard. It will be, but imagine the scenes if they're somehow able to. I know that Ireland and South Africa supporters will be looking at this game very closely, wondering what's going to be happening for Pool B. It is, but it will be Blair Kinghorn to kick it off. It's been a busy couple of months, mate. Horrible, says Kerr. Yeah, I assume you've been absolutely flat out. Probably a lot of time out at sea. Have you had any breaks throughout that time, Kerr? Or have you just been flat out country to country to country, one after the other? Can 14 French, they're 15 Scottish lads, says Blues now. I mean, we saw in that last game when England were playing with 12, they actually played better, so you almost want to have a man disadvantage. It's just who you're going to sacrifice for the sake of the card. But Dupont now rolling the ball back inside of the French 22. Looks to put this one towards the touchline. It goes out. Decent clearance from Dupont down to halfway. And now Scotland will have themselves their first line out. Now they are going without Xander Fagerson in this game. That is due to that last one, or the last red card, I should say. And how's it going, buddy, says Kerr. And not have much break. Been non-stop, unfortunately, says Kerr. So hopefully it does slow down for you relatively soon, mate. And you are able to, I guess, chillax just a little bit. Which country are you in at the moment, Kerr? Have you made your way back to Scotland, or are you somewhere else? Blair Kinghorn now on the halfway line. Tackled nicely. Jonathan Dante looked for the turnover in the breakdown. Wasn't quite able to get it. Now Russell slings it across to Jack Dempsey. Player number 8 has also played in the past for the Australians. Russell sold the dummy. Thought about the inside pass. Finds Duan Van der Merwe, Israel today. So does that mean that tomorrow you're somewhere else? Maybe. Or you might only have a short stopover in Israel, perhaps. And only 9 Scottish lads. The other 6 are South Africans and Australians. And England did well, 12, 13 and 14. Now it's going to be the big man, number 7, Rory Darsh, driven back with Cyprus tomorrow. I see what you mean by you've been absolutely non-stop, just location, location, location. And I'd assume by the end of the month, you've probably got about 3 or 4 more countries, if not more, that you'll be covering. Brilliant kick there. Duan Van der Merwe able to keep it in the field of play. Couldn't find his offload though, but Dupont was able to put the pressure on. Now Hugh Jones has to play a half. Schoolman goes back to Russell, who thinks about the gap, finds the offload up. This is a great Scottish start to this contest. Pierre Schoolman runs straight at his opposite number, Cyril Bailly, now around the side of the breakdown advantage in favour of Scotland. Going to the right now, Sione Tuipulotu back to Russell, slings it wide, out to Jack Dempsey, who steps, but Dupont able to wrestle him down low. WP now, 10 metres from the line. Another chance for Scotland. Thought about going inside with the ball there. Jamie Ritchie, France over the ball and the penalty. They will go back for the original one in favour of the Scottish. Taking my son to the Waikato Kids Rugby Tournament today. Hoping there's some hot mums to eye up today. Cheers, Hamish, on your brother, says Marco. Well, hopefully he does enjoy it. I actually went down to the local rugby grounds and watched my first game of live rugby at a ground in like 2 years, which was quite cool. I watched my little cousin play. Well, he's not that little. He's actually almost taller than me. I think he probably weighs more than me as well. He's a lock, so he's a big lad. But yeah, it was a good game. Town versus country. Close one. I think 40 points to 36. In the next couple of months, I got Greece, New York, Nova Scotia, LA, Vancouver, Tokyo, Singapore, Miami, Caribbean, then back to Scotland finally, says Kerr. And I'm sure by then you'll be needing a much needed break. Yeah, hopefully It does fly by for you, although, yeah, it sounds like you've been absolutely flat out over the last little while. Nice rolling maul here for Scotland. They have got themselves another rolling maul advantage. Penalty advantage going to the right here. Hugh Jones slings the pass. It was a bounce pass out to Kyle Steyn. Villiers doesn't stop him. And Scotland score the first try of the match. Well, I don't think people were expecting that. Like I said, the crowd is silenced. My voice wasn't ready for Scotland to score a try 4 minutes. And what a start, says Brian. Absolutely brilliant start to the match for Scotland. Having a couple penalty advantage, but not just that, being able to use it to their advantage. I vaguely remember having a family, says Kerr there. When was the last time your wife was on the cruise with you, Kerr? I assume that may have been a little while ago. But brilliant finish in the corner from Kyle Steyn to get the first try of the fixture. Scotland and France. And there, I don't think I can put that one up on the screen. Well, maybe. Some people might get it. Some people might not. Back from Macca's now, ready to watch France get smashed. And who has a wife? Says Kerr. Yeah, I guess that was a few months ago too, wasn't it? And my 63-5 prediction is getting closer to coming true. Says username. Yeah, well, the way that they've started this match certainly has helped them towards a great kick from Finn Russell, and it's gone over 7-0 for Scotland away from home. The first 4 minutes of this is already better than the 80 minutes of the last one. What a try, says Brian. And Marina Hamish signing in from Istanbul. Says Image, welcome in, mate. Already Scotland with Kyle Steyn getting over the line for the first time away from home as well. That will be one that settles the nerves for Scotland. Who has a wife, says Pebbles, not myself. I am as single can be. Now, kicking off is Antoine Dupont. In fact, it was Intermac to have the kick off there. Nicely taken by Scotland just outside of their own 22. And that first 5 minutes absolutely flew by. Who won the Wales match? In the end, England just 19 points to 17. I believe it was, but the penalty this time goes to France for not releasing against Pierre Schoeman. That is sad, says Bevel's Room. Not hugely. My ex-girlfriend, we only broke up about 10 months ago. She already has a child with a new fella and she's married. So I feel like I didn't do too badly overall. A wide play by Scotland looks good, says Lord 7th. I should mention her child's just been born. And Scotland need to contain themselves. There's a long way till the end, says Kerr. Yeah, they've gone well and truly into this like a house on fire, but they need to make sure that they don't get extinguished too early by the pressure that we're going to see from France. And it looks like France are actually going to be going for the 3 points here. England, says Brian, and some proper change, or some proper rugby for a change, hope lasts the 80 minutes. Says Ronald, and damn no Gadasi Graham, yeah, not for this game, although his replacement Kyle Steyn already getting himself the try. Great start. Greetings from Cape Town, daughters in Scotland, so I want them to win, says Penelope. Now Ramos. Chance now. And a rebound child, bro, says Lord 7th. Yeah, I guess so. And it's good. Is it? Yeah, it's good. I had to change my angle, even though changing my angle doesn't actually change the angle of the camera. You could have been a dad, says Bonnet. I could have been. But some would say that I dodged a bullet. That's going to be over. 3 points to 7. And also we have got there McStain and Hamish van der Merwe, says Jan HB. Now, 7.5 minutes gone. Absolutely flying by. I feel like this game's going to be over before we know it. The sun's coming up here in New Zealand as well. 7:15 a.m. You think Northland can beat Southland in the NPC tomorrow? I think they'll have a very decent chance of being able to do so. And also not the way Hamish... Oh, no. I just read those emojis and realised what... Yeah. No, well, no, I didn't mean year as in year, but 8 minutes in. Scotland now on the attack, 30 metres out, looking to get themselves their second try of the fixture. Pierre Schoeman. And do France have the C team on again? No, this is their A side. About as good as it gets for France. And they are down 7-0 currently. Now they are playing the advantage again for Scotland. France, their discipline's been struggling throughout these early stages. Finn Russell now passing across to Kyle Steyn. Runs straight at Jonathan Dante. Back across. Be honest, you've missed this. I've missed the use of emojis in a chat because normally there's not many emojis that pop around. Definitely not the backdoor ones. Now back across. Kyle Steyn short ball. Duan van der Merwe now. Couple big fins. And now they're going back. I live in New Zealand, Dunedin. Oh, you guys will be chilly today. I'd say we're 3 degrees Celsius at the moment, but I'd assume that you guys are probably about 1. Somewhere around there. And Scotland is basically South Africa's B team. So here's a Samoan. And what team are you going for? To be honest, I am just hopeful this is going to be a solid game of rugby. Which, to be honest, after the start of this match, looks like it's going to be quite a probability. Ooh. Scotland are going for the 3 points. 27 degrees Celsius, they've just mentioned. Must be nice. But they are saying that it is going to be a little bit of stoppages every once in a while just to slow them down. If you say anything other than Scotland, I'm going into hiding again, says Kerr. Yeah, to be honest, when they won last week, I was really sad that we didn't get to celebrate it with you. Mainly because I know that game would have been one that you were absolutely screaming for. Is France playing a second team? Nope. Main side, Dupont, Intermac, Gal Ficou, Damien Pinot, Thomas Ramos, Cameron Walkie in the fullback alongside Julian Marchand, Olivon, Aldrit. That kick's gone over from Scotland, and that now makes the score 10 points to 3. Nice lead starting to build here. And Scotland is more like the United Nations teams, more than just South Africans on that squad, says username. I'm hoping that Scotland goes the distance. Is that cheer comfortable, Hamish? Says CK. Not at all. No, I'm still on the same wooden one. And the worst thing is because it's got a cushion, the cushion from being sat on for so long has now become just a plank, pretty much. So you're not the comfiest chair in the world, but keeps us sitting relatively straight up, I guess. 22 metres out, Ali Price goes across to Pierre Schoeman. Scotland, they need to try and exit their 22 this time. Last time, just not quite able to keep the board ticking over. Exactly right, get those points continuously, slowly creeping forward. Kick has gone into touch. I think it levels the playing field just before the World Cup, says Hanger Rat. I say this because most Scottish players are from South Africa. Says the Samoan, how do we sponsor you a gaming chair? Says CK Gaming. I mean, we do have donations on the channel, but normally the gaming chair, it sounds almost weird to say, but if we need like a microphone or anything like that, I always put that before the chair. Mainly because, like, as long as the quality is better, like, my quality of sitting doesn't need to be great, but the microphone quality I do want to be better, if that makes sense. Even though I sit here for a very long time, sponsorship has returned, says Kerr. Yeah, Kerr is one of our main sponsors. He was funding the Super Rugby competition in the URC. Now, currently, France looking to keep this rolling ball forward. Pierre Schoeman's pulled down someone's pants and is just holding them down, which is interesting. Dante, bigger run forward again. Now Dupont, not a lot of space here, just stagnant, trying to find that next pass, finds Intermac. Pinot is just sitting at the back by himself, although now running straight sideways, trying to find the gap. He's just broken through 3 tackles. He's a phenomenal player, Damien Pinot, and one of those guys that they have to shut down early, but Scotland managed to get back into the breakdown and turn it over. Now Kyle Steyn looking for a run of his own. In fact, it's going to be Duan van der Merwe. Off his wing now, Finn Russell looking for the kick in behind. Just finding the space down the middle of the field, hoping this one pulls up. It's gone into the in-goal area, but it has stopped, and Dante will force it, and that now means that it is a goal line dropout. When the Tongan forwards come on, France will start winning, says Skills, and choo-choo Hamish, but if your back is messed up, can't bring us the excellent commentary as always, says CK. Yeah, to be fair, my back is not great, which is probably because of the chair, but also because of sitting here for like 12 or 14 hours some days doing the live streams or even editing outside of it. And even though Scotland is an islands pool, I hope they win this, says Brian. And if France loses, does this damage the World Cup chances? Not necessarily. It just means that some people may underestimate them that little bit more, which I feel like you can't afford to do up against this French side. Like for me, they're getting out of the quarters. It's just, getting out of the group stage. It's just what happens in those playoff games from then on. Nice short ball to Schoeman again. This is the best start to a match Scotland have had in a long time. And now Tui Pilotu. Tackled low by Jonathan Dante, his opposite number, back across to the left. Looping pass across here. Little bit of a mistake from Richie. It's kicked into touch by France. Dupont just decides to put boot to ball. And now it sounds like it's going to be play on Scotland. Now have another line out. I hope the ABs get Scotland in the quarters. Says Lord 7th. Is that because you want to see those two sides play, or is it because you think that that will be their best chance? Damien Pinot just losing that ball. Scotland dark horse for the World Cup. Says Hershey. That's the thing. If they can get out of that group, playoff game-wise, I think Scotland, in any match they walk into, they've got a decent chance of winning. It's just that case if they have to get out of a tough group with Tonga, with Ireland, with South Africa and Romania. And the World Cup is a different kind of competition. I don't think much can be read in these matches, but I'm happy that Scotland is looking strong, says Hangarat. And the big thing for Scotland will be avoiding injuries before this World Cup comes around. Beer, Skurman, another carry to the right now. Gray goes across to Russell. Short ball to Rory Dash. A good position on the field. Oh, Aldrit's got the penalty there in through the side against Gray. The groups have shafted Scotland more than any other country, says Kerr. Yeah, it's a very tricky group. And the fact that Tonga are now starting to play a little bit better means it's going to be tough. Like, these are the groups. To be honest, if Scotland were in Pool D or C, I could see them going through. This one, it's a little bit more of a questionable one. But that doesn't mean they can't go through. It just means they're going to have to play extremely good rugby throughout those two games. They need to get that points differential up against the Romanians and Tonga. And then from there, I think they'll be looking at those two big games, the Springboks and Ireland. If they can win them, they will be almost guaranteed to go through. So that will be what they go for. Nothing more, well, more, but nothing less than two big victories. Thrown in by William O'Shawn, nicely taken by Cameron Walkie, one of the one player who didn't get changed. They've got the penalty advantage as well. Dupont goes across to Dante, now into Mac, looks for the kick in behind. Scotland have got it covered, and they will go back for the penalty once more. Now, France may consider going for another rolling maul here. They can kick it down into the corner. I can see them beating South Africa and causing an upset, says Kerr. And that's the thing, currently, no one really knows what the Springboks, their tactics going to be going into this World Cup. We've seen their squad announced where they had the 4 halfbacks. We know that when they play brilliant rugby, they're extremely hard to stop. But we've seen Argentina play a couple good games of the Rugby Championship that was able to push the Springboks that little bit. I also come in Italy. I am also in Italy, says Colin. A great pleasure finding this channel to listen to the games. No worries at all. And we have got plenty more coming up on the channel. The games next week that we are covering, we've got Wales versus South Africa, England versus Ireland, as well as France taking on the Fijians. A little bit too early there from from Scotland with the pre-engaging of the rolling maul and the advantage now for Les Bleus. It's gone down. The ball's available for Gregory Aldrit, who looks to bust his way through the tackle attempt. Round the side again, Cyril Bailly. Good defence so far from Richie and his Scottish side. That will be the knock-on. And it's going back for another penalty. There will definitely be a few upsets in the World Cup, says Hangarat. And I think that's what's going to make it so exciting. The fact that this World Cup is nowhere near a one-horse race. There are so many players with potential of going relatively far in the comp. And King On rocking the big horns. I think the Panthers will reach the semis. Only ours will win, says Kerr there. Yeah, Argentina looking solid, although they've got Japan and Samoa also in their group, who I feel might be able to cause an upset, but I feel like Argentina should be strong enough to be able to get through. And then they'll be playing maybe Australia in the quarterfinals. Oh, it's a knock-on from France. They did go for the rolling maul attempt once more. The ball is dropped, I believe, that would have been by Borient, whose name I cannot say, but Baudon, is that what they said? Baudon, maybe? It's going to be the scrum feed now for Scotland, though, 10 metres out from their line. Do we think Wales will get out of the group? With the way Fiji are playing, that's going to be tricky. But World Cups are a different story, aren't they? They're always tricky. But I think in that group, it could honestly be Australia and Fiji. And to be honest, even back in Australia in that regard is risky, seeing as they are yet to get themselves a win with Eddie Jones as coach. But Georgia are another dark horse in that group. I feel like Pool C and Pool D are my two favourite pools. And then maybe Pool B as well, to be honest, because it's got that nice competitive nature to it. And there is a chance that quite a few sides can go through. That looked like an early push there from France. But Scotland, they feed the ball in. And it's a big push there from them. Nick Berry says it's going sideways. And it is going to be another scrum. I can see England and Wales not getting out, says Brian. And what's our draw, Hammy, for the ABs? For the ABs, if I have got their fixtures somewhere. There we go. This one. So they have got France. That is less than 34 days. I think it's about 30 or 27 now. Then they've got Namibia, Italy, Uruguay, and then, from there, the quarterfinals if they make it through, which they should, I believe, with the teams that they've got in front of them. Gatland hates life, says Kerr. Yeah, he's got a bit of a struggle at the moment with his side because tactically they weren't all there in that last game. They won the game beforehand up against England, but still lack of tries being scored, which will concern them a little bit, but still time, I guess. Scotland escape, says Brian, and Samoa looking better this World Cup, says Hershey. Exactly right. Eddie Jones probably the worst coach in history of the game, says Colin. The penalty goes to France. Elbow gone down straight to ground for Pierre Schoolman. It's a massive pressure being put on by El Dehigri. We have Guy. How much effect will the England red card have? Well, Owen Farrell theoretically will be missing at least the first game of the Rugby World Cup. Because he's a repeat infringer, it means that he could actually be missing more than just that first game and perhaps one or two extra. So a little bit concerning for Farrell, but saying that if he's not going to wrap his arms, no one's fault but his own. Well, France, our main worry, says Spider Mick. And also Fiji knocked Wales out in 2007, remember? Says Geza. And now a nice rolling maul for France has been slightly halted by Scotland. Looks like it's actually Jack Dempsey right in the middle of it. Trying to shut it down now. Dupont goes across to Jonathan Dante. Tackled by Sione Tuipulotu. Now Dupont again looks to shift it to the right. Intermac tries to spin. Now this is where they need to find the hands of Damien Pinot, because if they do, it's a try 9 times out of 10. But first they're using the big forwards. Serobai gets that little bit closer. Stolen in the breakdown for Scotland, but they're going back for the original penalty. Can't win the ball and stand up there. It's the call from Nick Berry. And Rubbish England now having a second bite at rubbishing the Aussies, says Colin. And Gatland openly stated that he knew how bad the rugby situation was in Wales. Or if he had known, sorry. He would have turned down the job. Coach should never publicly say that. Doesn't want to be there clearly, says Kerr. And that's the thing, he locked in for a year, was it? Or 2 years for Gatland. So even him getting a win over England, I'm sure it would have been helpful, but the long game is they have to make it out of the group stage. Farrell's dirty play is catching up on him. He's been doing no-arms tackles for years. Yep. But he's probably gotten away with a few. It's unfortunate that this is the one, for his sake, that he has been pulled up on because he is so close to that Rugby World Cup. Last week's team was much stronger, says Hershey. Now it looks like France, they will be going for the 3 points with Thomas Ramos, and Scotland need to keep pressure on the breakdown, says Kerr. But yeah, watching the local game of under 14 and a halves earlier on, I was actually pleasantly surprised at how much they got in the breakdown and tried to counter ruck, which is something in some regards we don't see a huge amount of from some international teams. But I guess that's just because kids normally, they just run around all over the place, don't they? But he got a bit unlucky because they said he had his hands down, but I think he locked on to the ball, to be honest. But 6 points to 10 France managing to close that gap to only the 4 points at least. Faz, I won't have to play against his dad next week, says Yvonne. And Farrell is a total eggplant, says Kerr. Yeah, he's not the most popular bloke around, is he? I know that him and Dan Bigger were exchanging words after he did it. Nice low tackle. No, missed from Kyle Stoney. It looked like he was going to make it on Gregory Eldred, but the man just slipped straight through. Now, looking to shift this one. In fact, they'll look for the kick instead here, Dupont. Trying to play the territory game. Left boot looking solid down now to Blair Kinghorn. Cross. And now Jack Dempsey moves up to the halfway line. Dante tries to get over the ball. 48 metres. Ali Price back to Finn Russell. Now finds the pass. It just seems like they're a bit outnumbered at the moment, Scotland, in the way that they are attacking. Have a lot of players on this left-hand side, though. And now they look to shift it out. Nice step from Blair Kinghorn. Goes straight through the gap. It is held. Finds the offload away. Ali Price is slapped back by Gregory Eldred. And on the ball, Scotland managed to get themselves the turnover. Kinghorn receives it back. Wide cutout pass. Goes to Waki. And they're going back for the knock-on. A fart and a lift is more popular, says Kerr. Yeah. Well, Farrell's one of those players how he knows he's one of the keys for England. So to go into this game that happened just before and get a red card, like, it's just not smart. You know, at the end of the day, your team needs you. It's same as Johnny Sexton to a certain extent when he was going through his side of things with the disciplinary board. Like, he knew that he was going to be one of the keys for Ireland in the Rugby World Cup. But he ended up looking like for a bit that he was actually going to be missing the whole thing. Luckily for him, he has got that slightly shortened period. Nick Berry asking the Scottish players if they are all good. They will certainly be feeling all right. 4 points up against France after the first 24 minutes. You have to wonder whether or not the Scottish gas tank is going to last for that 80, though, because this game has been played at a high tempo, and France do know how to slowly, methodically wear down sides. But for now, they're looking good. French warm-up matches are more physical opponents, says Blues Nate. And next week, they are going to be going head-to-head with the Flying Fijians, which I'm very curious to know how it goes. Like, that game could easily be a one-sided affair in favour of France, but there's also the chance that we see a relatively close game and the Fijians really continuing that form. I think the ban for Sexton was a blessing in disguise, as he won't be injured in the warm-ups, says Geza True. And I've mentioned about it, per game so far, we are seeing at least one player injured for each team. Last game for Wales, they lost, I think it was Dewey Lake, and then also a bit of Tane Plumtree. For England, it was Jack Van Porfleet. It looked like he had a relatively serious ankle injury. That is a big scrum coming from Scotland and France, but has wheeled around again. And a hard of hearing couple are at mass. The wife turns to the husband and says, John, I just did a silent fart. What should I do? John says, change the batteries on your hearing aids. Yeah. Unlucky in that case for her. And as stamina isn't an issue for Scotland, they are a massively fit side. It's mental fatigue that destroys them. Need to calm or to keep focus and calm for the full 80, says Kerr. Yeah, currently, I mean, if they can get another try before the end of this first half, I'll be feeling very good going into that second. They're just talking about the fact that England were down to 12 in their game up against Wales. That's another rough scrum. Free kick this time to Scotland. It seems like scrums are very scrappy between these two. Wales use sheep as tackle bags, says RJJ. I mean, at least they're relatively fluffy, aren't they, the sheep? Our coach is allowed to talk to the ref before kickoff, says Spider Meg. Not sure. Because I know that after a game, the refs aren't allowed to be talked about by the coaches, really, or else they get in trouble. Sexton did play with Ireland against Portugal in a behind-closed-doors training match this week. Was he allowed to do that? I assume so, actually, now that I think about it, because Australia A, I think it was Darcy Swain was suspended, but he was allowed to play for Australia A, and that actually took games off his overall international ban. So they might be being a little bit sneaky with Sexton, still keeping him playing just in other matches, whether or not he even goes back and plays a game of club rugby. I feel like if he did that, though, everyone would target him just because it's Johnny Sexton. Now Ali Price puts the ball in. Yes, he was allowed. It wasn't an official game. Yeah, it's probably the same concept. Here's username, nice back line. Moving out to the right-hand side. Hugh Jones tackled low by Intermac. France, at the moment, the defence is scrambling a little bit when they head out to this left-hand side. Pierre Schoeman, good straight run. Ali Price this time decides to go back to the right. Tries a bit of a snipe round the side of the breakdown with the pick and go. Kyle Stain at the moment. He is waiting patiently out on that right wing. Duan van der Merwe hugging the left touchline, waiting for a possible cross kick. Now Tui Pilotu, offloaded up Kinghorn. Good hands from Stain to be able to take it. Although Villiers gets in the breakdown. Quick tap taken by Antoine Dupont. Knockback 10 for Scotland. That might be considered cynical. The flag is up there on the touch side. And they'll go back. This is gone. Antoine says Geza. Scotland need to get that score ticking over. Can't afford time passing by. Says Kerr. Can anyone tell me, are the Scots wearing under rods under their kits now? There is a king on the throne. Just asking for a friend, says Colin. Not too sure, to be honest. Manu Samoa caused an upset over Ireland. Says Blues Nate. Yeah, Rory Darge. Or in fact, it's Jamie Ritchie. He's gone to the bin for 10 minutes. That was due to making the tackle, not being back the 10. And it's exactly what Scotland... Well... It's exactly what Scotland didn't need, but then we think to how well they played with 14 last week, and maybe that is what they need, just to fire up that little bit more. But, wait, was it Ritchie or was it... I thought it was Ali Price who wasn't back the 10, but they were showing it to Ritchie, so maybe Ali Price was behind him, but because Ritchie's tall, we didn't see it. Yeah, it was Ali Price, who will be off the field for the 10 minutes. Price places his foot. Oh, it didn't touch the ground. So because of that, that try for France could have stood. And that is going to make the crowd pretty angry. Dupont asking the question, although the thing is, with the whistle being blown, did Scotland stop attacking? Or stop defending, I should say. More space on the pitch with one less guy. It's our game plan, says Kerr. Ali Price off the field till pretty much half-time, damn. Smoke goes over, back to work goes Scotland, says Spider-Max. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of your day at work. Looks like it might be a relatively sunny day here in New Zealand today, although it's frosty at the moment as well. Amish, are you doing any NPC or Farah Palmer Cup games? We are hoping to do some Bunnings NPC. The only reason we didn't do any yesterday was because I actually went down to the local rugby grounds to watch 3 games of rugby. I thought that would be a good idea, seeing as pretty much every other weekend from now, I don't really get the chance to be able to go down and have a look. So I thought I'd better go have a look, see how they went. Nice backline here for France. Offloaded on the inside from Dupont to Galficu. 15 metres out, Remarchand receives the offload. Now 15 still between France and their first try of the half. Villiers be waiting patiently out on this left side. We know he's a try-scorer machine. They've got Pinot out on the other wing, so either way that they go, they could find success. Cyril Bay, pass an inside ball from Intermac. Offloaded back, but it goes into the hands of Scotland. They will go back for the penalty advantage. Scotland starting to click now, says Geza. And also we have got there, Scotland were lucky there, says Brian. Double blow of the whistle. This could be another warning. We're back down here again. Okay, so Nick Berry has just given the final warning to Ritchie and his side, saying if you end up doing any more penalties, seeing as you've conceded 9 already, that is massive. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Ritchie just had to confirm, was that our final warning or just a warning? And the referee said final. Off topic, did you and George climb that hill last week? We kind of did. We got up it a little bit. And then we ended up actually coming back down and cooking some steaks, was what ended up happening. And then we actually watched UFC and the boxing all throughout the afternoon. So I was probably up for about 32 hours on that day, but it was good fun. Overall, need to breathe and take a minute, says Kerr. Discipline was an issue last week too. Amish, did you commentate the local games you watched? I did not, although they did have some flash cameras filming it, seeing as it was a professional game for the Heartland Championship here in New Zealand, the next level down from the NPC. Now Dupont, sniping run off the back. Intermac goes himself. And France get their first try in the 31st minute. The one man down for Scotland this time does not work in their favour. And all the pressure has been from France. The discipline letting down Scotland here. France are getting into gear now, says Brian. And to be fair, with the fact that there's been 9 penalties against Scotland, it just means that their momentum is 100% not there for Scotland. France slowly and methodically making their way up the field. That was inevitable. I think Scotland have had their fun, says Giga, and Eggplant, says Kerr there, and that's been coming for a while, says Yvonne. Yeah, they've been very good on attack, Scotland. Very good on attack, France. And Intermac, probably not the player people would have predicted to score the first try of the match for the French. But now Thomas Ramos lining up the kick, currently ahead by 1. The ref is helping France. Nick Berrios BS, says CK Gaming. I mean, I know there was one so far that I'd say they got unlucky with for Scotland, but other than that, I think most of them have been relatively serious. It's not over till my ex-wife sings, "Come on, boys," says Kerr. Now that kick is over. Just to confirm, Kerr, that your current wife is not now your ex-wife, is she? I assume you're still together. And AB's licking their lips, red rooster for dinner, says a Blues Nate. Great work from Intermac. The bench were happy, Bugrit and Antonio. A little fist pump. 7 minutes remaining in this first half. 6 minutes remaining of the yellow card for Scotland. And they are walking up to halfway now. I wonder whether or not the wind in the sails has been slightly taken away. Score 13 points to 7. The scoreboard does not want to do that. And come on, Scotland, keep it up. Is your scoreboard correct? Not quite. The scoreboard, it hasn't given France their 7 points yet. There we go. Not quite. They've given too many points. Ref is the only one for me, says Kerr. She was here the other day overall, so you might get to see her. I'd say South African live stream next weekend up against Wales. She'll be here and watch it on. Nicely kicked to touch from France. Territory gain 41.5 metres. Don't let your current wife hear you call her that, says RJJ. Wasn't there like a Olympics runner, was it? Who was like, I'd like to thank my wife, I'd like to thank my girlfriend. And then he went, and then I think he got found out that he was cheating on the fellow who was thanking his wife and the GF. As some kick from Dupont. Yeah, plenty of distance on it on the right boot as well, rather than the left. Thrown to the back here for Scotland, and now they look to get this rolling ball going in the form of Grant Gilchrist. Starting to creep forward just that little bit, silly boy, says Kerr. Stop once already. Now looking to put this one high, Finn Russell. Doesn't look like he's too happy. In fact, that's gone out on the full. I can see why. It's almost gone straight out sideways for Finn Russell. Player gone down for Scotland. I think Grant Gilchrist, he's lost a shoe. That's why you should never thank your wife or your girlfriend, says Kerr. South African soccer player, says RJJ. And football player from South Africa you're talking about. Is that where the clips come from? Although I think it's happened a bit, which is, I mean, it's a slip-up, of course, for them. A South African soccer player also slipped up and thanked his wife and girlfriend, says Grant. Yeah. Why block me, says Michael. I didn't block you, Michael. Not that I know of. Anyway, I've had my hands down south. Wait, that sounds dodgy. I've had my hands on my knees the whole time. That's not how I sit, though. It's just chilling in the middle. And now, Dupont. I believe that they will look to get this one for touch again. Darcy Graham on the sideline. Right. Julien Marchand, 40 metres out from the line. France have won 6 lineouts. That is now the 7th. Nicely taken by Charles Olivon. Rolling beautifully forward. Gregory Aldret also. Now 30 metres out. Dupont going to Serubai. I have previously made a toast to wives and girlfriends. May they never meet, says Kerr. Were they both sitting at the table at that time? I feel like that would have got the look sideways going, Hang on, who is this? Who is this random lady who's come to our dinner? I'm currently very single, so I don't have that problem. I can't thank a girlfriend because it's all by myself. It was my wedding. Oh no. I'll do it. First or most recent marriage. I remember the Chilean miners who were trapped. One of the miners' wives and lover turned up when they were rescued. I think he wanted to stay down there, says Geza. And I was like, let's go Scotia. Now, Finn Russell going to be playing halfback for Scotland here due to Ali Price being off the field, down in the front row. I see that the sun is starting to come in, which means that my green screen might start to misbehave, ladies and gentlemen. So if you see a random box of grey up there, just know that it's the sun. Right, we will go this. There we go. Scoreboard's behaving itself. 13 points to 10. Still relatively close. Kerr, my brother from another mother. My last name's also Kerr, says Mr. Broom. There you go. You might be distantly related. I know your name is Mr. Broom, says Kerr. And Russell looks pissed off. He probably didn't want to be playing halfback. That's going to be the penalty, though, in favour of Scotland. He's dropped his bind and gone down. Must be hard to referee scrums. I've always thought if I was ever a referee, I'd hate to do the scrum side of things. So just play really, really long advantages. 3 minutes remaining. And lol, not real name, Kerr, says Mr. Broom. Not a biggest fan of Nick Berry. Yeah, there's a lot of teams that don't like him. Crusaders are one. New Zealand's another. South Africa's another. Wales, I don't think like him. Auckland, my real name isn't Kerr, says Kerr there. And I think Scottish are tired, says that, man, they've had a lot of intensity brought to them throughout this first 40 minutes, although they now have themselves one last attacking chance. They will definitely try and make the most of it. George Turner throwing the ball in, nicely taken by Jamie Ritchie. 25 metres out from the line. Did I just hear one of the commentators go, come on, Scotland? I think he might be slightly one-sided in the department. Oh, we're all imposters, says Mr. Broom. Mr. Brush says, I have missed you, Kerr. It's been too long. 30 metres out. Now off to the left. Scotland are underrated, says Yetta. Yeah, they're going to be a tough side in the group with Ireland, Tonga, Romania and South Africa. Jack Dempsey. Now the 30 metres out. Finn Russell playing halfback again. And this is somewhere where Scotland, they don't have their fly half who would normally look for the kicks, sideways and all sorts. So it might be a little bit more structured, this next attack. WP now. Cross to Kinghorn now. Hugh Jones. Trying to step his way through. He's just going sideways currently. Now he's been dragged down. Gregory Alderett trying to get over the ball. Not quite able to turn it over. And how's the push-ups going, says Kerr? I don't think we've done any since me. Oh, no, that's a lie. We've done some, but not many at all compared to the last time you were here on the streams. Me and George, we climbed a hill the other week. Whoa, I've got like a sunshine on my chest. But it looks like my arm's not actually there. Mr. Brooks, great movie by with Kevin Costner. Is your first name Basil? Says Grant. And Scotland going backwards, says Geza. Yeah, they're being put under a lot of pressure here. Currently 30 seconds remaining, and I believe Ali Price will now be able to make his way back out onto the field. Scotland, though, conceding that penalty. And Intermac going to kick this one for the touchline. Plenty of height on it. Another opportunity for France. There's Brian. Here, Jack Dempsey went down. Jonathan Dante, hand on the ball. Does get that turnover. Marchand. Last throw of the half, I would think. Grant. That was my birth name, but I recently had an operation and changed my name to Mop. Says Kerr. Right, another advantage against Scotland, this time against one blue. which in this game's Pierre Schoeman. Now Dupont, going across to Charles Olivon, good driving tackle by Gray. Dupont looking for the kick in behind. Waiting for this one to come down. It is slapped back by Scotland, and they'll go back again for another penalty. Looks like Fiku may have had a little bit of an injury to the ankle, but he is good to go. Back up to his feet. Another penalty for France. This is when they usually strike, says Geza. Exactly right. They might consider taking the 3 points, to be honest, just because at this stage it would give them a lead by 6. Wait. Oh, okay, they said that there was no penalty for something else, but there was a penalty for this one. I think Intermac's going to kick for the corner. If the ref was even halfway decent, he would have given Scotland a penalty try. Says Kerr, but now France going for the corner, 15 metres out. What time is it over there, Hamish? Have you slept? Says Alfie. So it is currently 7:50. Whoa, I've like half disappeared. I didn't even realise. How am I going to fix this? Go this way a little bit, maybe. Rotate this. That doesn't really help, does it? Go about here. Kind of. Not really. It's just very, very bright in the background, isn't it? I'm not used to doing live streams at this hour. So we don't normally have to deal with the green screen and me slowly disappearing. It's kicked downfield from Scotland. But yeah, I slept a little bit earlier on to try and sneak a few hours. It's kicked into touch by France. And that's going to be halftime now. 13 points to 10. How am I going to fix this, son? The thing is, it would be as easy as closing a curtain, but there is no curtain on that window. Whoa. I got a bunny. Again. I don't know. That was a big carrot out of its mouth. Our French are turning the screw, says Michael. And also too bad for Scotland if they can, or not bad for Scotland if they can regroup and close the curtain, says Yvonne. Yes, it would be a good plan, but sadly there's no curtain on that one, seeing as the windows, they were recently renovated. There are no curtains up yet. So that is why I'm relatively see-through. I'm going to change it a little bit though. Oh, not like that. We're going to turn it up to about there. And hopefully I'm not as see-through throughout the second half. But anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We have got plenty more rugby action coming in the near future. Scotland won't be too unhappy with that going into halftime. Yeah, I think they'll be glad that they started as quickly as they did. We've seen some decent fight back so far from their opposition here, but I don't think they'll be hugely disappointed. The one thing they'll be disappointed with, though, is that discipline, because they have given away far too many penalties. They've given away about 11 throughout that first half, which is definitely not ideal. Small world, mates with her sisters here, says, her sister here, says Grant. And Amish, did you catch the Counties Hawke's Bay game? Sadly not. I haven't actually got a chance to watch much of the Bunnings EBC this weekend. Only really seen a couple highlights. But yeah, it'll be interesting. See those. I'll probably watch all the replays today, to be honest. An investment plan for business growth, proper chair for Hamish, and curtains, says Yvonne. Yeah, they might have to be the next two big things that I do get for myself. The problem with the chair, though, is if it's too comfy, I will fall asleep on stream. The good news about this uncomfy chair, yes, it's terrible for my back and neck and all that stuff, but there is no chance of me sleeping on a late night stream in like the 12th hour of streaming, mainly because like this chair just wouldn't allow it. The only way to sleep would be to put your head forward and then it will smack on the keyboard and that'll wake me up. After what I've seen so far, I think the ABs will beat France convincingly in the pool stage, says Lord 7th. Yeah, it's going to be interesting though. France still have another warm-up game up against Fiji. I believe they might even be playing a game after that as well. So plenty of time for improvement. Get a comfy chair, tape an implant to it so you stay awake. Well, that certainly would keep me awake. That is for sure. That could be funny, says Yvonne. The thing is, I have been close to falling asleep on a stream before, way back in the day. Also, I think last year's November internationals, after we had done about 6.5 games, I got to the 7th. I don't even remember what happened in that second half. I was an autopilot throughout it. But somehow we got through it without sleeping. I've slept through a stream before when I set my alarm for PM rather than AM. I think that was for a top 14 game, so I actually ended up going on the channel halfway through the game being like, hey guys, I didn't forget, it's just I was asleep. The Scottish have improved a lot, says Hitman. Yeah, they're looking pretty good. The thing that they'll want to avoid in the second half, of course, is penalties, but also injuries. You don't want to be losing a few of those key players heading towards that Rugby World Cup. We have got a donation from Mr. Broom with the Euro, I believe that is. Thank you very much, mate. Usually appreciated. It is a super sticker, and that super sticker is one of a lemon with legs and a lime with legs blowing on a trumpet. Or is it a bugle? It might be, actually. Is that what it's called, a bugle? Or does a bugle have a circle in it? Like a big horn? I'm not sure. There's a difference between a trumpet and a bugle, though. I know that much. One of them's got the thingies on the top, and does the... Yeah, I don't know. I did music at school. I failed one of the exams. That was mainly because our teacher got a concussion, though. Not because of me. Because he tried to run over a chain and fell and hit his head and whatnot. So he didn't actually study that exam. This is all information you probably don't need. But there you go. And Auckland was bad against the Marcos. Reckon Marcos take this NPC. Yeah, they're always right up there, Tasman. And yeah, I agree. It seemed like they just weren't able to find that rhythm. I think it's a size thing, says Kerr. So the size, it's kind of like a violin and a viola. There's a little bit of a difference there, isn't it? One of them's big, one of them's a little bit smaller. I can't reach my drink bottle. Got it. First half, great first half, says Mr. Broom. Yeah, it was a very good half between the two sides. A lot more eventful than England versus Wales, a lot of people would say, but it's still a game that both sides have got a decent chance of being able to win it, which is good. The Hamish Law goes crazy, says not your everyday cultist. We have got there Mr. Broom with the five flies and the two happies, or the okays. And also Mr. Broom with the $5 emojis from Nate. Scottish props and wings, the South Africans go Scotland, says Neil. Yeah, good first half. Hopefully I'm not completely invisible by the second. I know my hair's disappearing, but not in this way. That half my head, that side, is gone. And also half the stadium, as you can see, my hand does a bit of the weirdness because it's cut off there. But hopefully we'll be all right. Still be here by the end of it. Second half, not too far away from getting back underway. So anyone who is new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I mentioned about the games that are taking place next week. And of those games, we will actually be covering quite a few of them. These are the 5 matches. But we are covering 3. Wales versus South Africa at 2:15 a.m. New Zealand time. Ireland versus England at 4:30 a.m. New Zealand time. And then Fiji, France to close out the night at 7:05. Also, I should mention on Saturday morning at 6:45 a.m. New Zealand time, there is a game between Samoa and the Barbarians. And we are also going to be doing that game. So, plenty of action. Italy, Romania will be good, says Kerr. It should be, yeah. Sadly, I think, what time was it on? It's on at the same time as the second game, I think, isn't it? Yeah, Italy, Romania at 4:30, but we will be able to keep you updated on the score throughout that fixture. I know that Georgia played Romania today. Italy did not have a game this week that I can think of. They did have a game last week, though. They did play the Irish, and then I think they may have played Ireland the week prior as well. So they must still have one more warm-up game up against the Romanians and then maybe one more afterwards. The violin, says Kerr there. And also what stringed instrument did Russell Crowe play in Master and Commander? Was it violin? I'm not much of a movie fellow, so I don't know much about movies, sadly. How's it, Hamish, says Sean. Doing very well, thank you, Sean. Hopefully you are doing well. Also looking forward to South Africa versus Wales. It is coming up next weekend. Let's throw the ball about. There's some fun. Come on, Scotland, says Stevie P. I think the thing that's been hurting them just a little bit is the fact that they just haven't been able to get out of their own half after that first maybe 10 or so minutes. And the continuous infringements has meant that they've been stuck inside of that 50 metres. And France is slowly and methodically just making their way forward. Scotland have to cut out the penalties in the second Do you think ABs are missing or do you think the ABs are missing a pure poacher? I would say, to a certain extent, like we don't have someone like a Josh Van Den Flair or who's another good example, even like a Fraser McWright, really. I mean, Artie Savia probably falls into that category for us, and he's important when we're just out from the line, but other than that, I don't think we see too many. Are you covering women's rugby too? Says Robert, we did actually cover the Women's Rugby World Cup. I know that New Zealand are playing in a competition in about 50 days' time, so we may look to do a little bit of it. I think next week's game, Ireland versus England, will be very telling. Says Yvonne, and Irish don't lie, you are movie fantastic. Can't think of one you haven't seen. Says Kerr. The last movie I watched was Scooby-Doo the movie. I thought it was worth another shot, seeing as I watched it when I was younger. Other than that, though, what else have I seen? I know that George was talking about going to see Meg 2. Anyone who's heard of that, with Jason Statham, who's in a movie series that I'm going to try and remember the name of. Is he in Taken? No, Taken's Liam Neeson, isn't it? What one's Jason Statham and how he talks like this and he's supposed to be all gangster and whatnot, like a spy? There's a movie series with him in it. My dad would know it. He's watched them before. He might win the game. And guess who cracked a job at Hip Hop and Good Entertainments? Says Mark. I assume yourself. What is good or hip hop and good entertainments? Mark, do let me know. Crank says RJJ, the mechanic. Says Kurt, it might be Transporter. Maybe. Is there more than one? Fast and Furious, says Geza. See, we're listing a whole heap of movies that I have not seen, to be honest. I'm really bad with movies. The Transporter. Yep. There we go. My dad has just come in and said it is the Transporter of the ones that he's seen. What was the question? Jason Statham, where he's like a spy and stuff. And like has to try and take a person back. Is that the Transporter? He drives the car, that's it. He drives the vehicle. Yeah. We have got there, I never seen you lose your cool, Hamish. Cheers, mate, says David the Mod. I don't know if I've seen myself lose my cool either. My problem is I can't take anything serious enough for long enough to get angry. Like, yeah, if something's like slightly annoying, I just end up laughing at something else and then I just forget about it pretty much, which I mean, it's probably a good thing to have. It's just I wouldn't be able to do like serious speeches or anything. No, that's not Jason Statham, that's Johnny Sins, says Lord 7th. And David the Mob with the dollars from Mr. Broom. And Morena Hamish's dad says Nazi Williams and Let's Go says not your everyday cultist. And give Darcy the ball and we will score. Darcy's sadly not playing in this contest. Is he coming off the bench though? No, I don't think he was. No, they've got Ollie Smith instead. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. Kyle Steyn, of the ball that he has touched, he has been able to score himself a try. So perhaps they get it back out wide to him on that right wing. That's why we love you, Hamish. Always on the positive side. That's why I tune in. Says Nazi Williams. Yeah, because I know it annoys some people when I look at the positives of situations. It's like that last game between England and Wales. People were not enjoying that because there were a lot of handling errors. No side was scoring tries. And I was just smiling flat out throughout the first half just because it was great to be doing international game of rugby again. So when I get paid, I can send you some super chats. Says Mark Roberts. And there as well. And Amish, I reckon you and George should go watch the Barbie movie in Suits together. The thing is, it's on tomorrow, or it's on today, I think, at the theatre 30 minutes away. We don't actually have, we have a movie theatre here, but it doesn't do movies till like a month after they've been out. I tune in for the rugby. Says Vinton, my wife said I'm childish. Now she's on a special list. I had to inform the neighbourhood. Says Kerr. I keep it clean and positive with Kiwi Lads vibes, and anyone watching on Amazon Prime and seeing the ad for men's incontinence or contents at the time. I should know that word, but it doesn't want to come off my tongue. It's bizarre, says Yvonne. And Kia ora Blues, says Nazi Williams. I don't know if George owns a suit now that I think about it. I know that I've got one. We could go dressed as Santa and Harry Potter. We've got those two outfits sorted. That reminds me of a video that never got released. Maybe it will one day, maybe it won't, but we did like an Easter egg hunt. I was dressed as Harry Potter, George was dressed as Santa, and we had Easter eggs hidden all around our house. My mum vlogged it, or she had the camera. Can't imagine George going to watch the Barbie movie. One, or in fact 2 words that will make you change your mind. Margot Robbie. George likes her, so he probably would. He would probably go just to watch her in it. Hey Amish, am I remember you? Says Sanatana, I remember you. Do you remember me? I like a bit of naughty talk here and there. Says Nazi Williams, and the Kerr Law goes hard too. Funny you say that, I've noticed an increase in similar ads the last week or so. And come on, Scotland, you magnificent bastards. Says Gareth. I mean, that's going to be a team talk. To be fair, in the second game, or the second half of the first game, they were fired up. So whatever happened at halftime, it must have worked. And I assume that it should be the same here. It's going to be Raman Intermac to kick us off. We have an incentive for George then. Says not your everyday cultist. And I love her, says Albert for Margot Robbie. Yeah, I think George, ever since the Wolf of Wall Street, he was in love. Talking about the heat, 27 degrees Celsius for this match. George fit a suit jokes, says Nazi Williams. He can fit the Santa suit that we have. Nice run forward from Jack Dempsey. Oh, big fend as well to start us off for the second half. Close to the touchline, but just stays in the field of play. Back across Pierre Skirman. That is the last thing that Scotland would have liked. Jonathan Dante now ends up with the ball. Thought about offloading. Now Dupont short side goes off to Gregory Aldred. This is where the ruck speed of France will start to pay dividends. Run forward from Julien Marchand. Finds the offload to Intermac. In fact, it's Dupont. Now flicked on the inside to Cyril Bailly, who gets the ball away to Dupont again. Cameron Walkie driving forward. This is all because of the drop ball of Pierre Schoeman. And now Scotland have to spend a lot more time defending. The inevitable has just happened, says Geza. I read Gareth's comments in the strongest possible Scottish accent. Short side, Damien Pinot runs in the try. You cannot afford to drop the ball when playing France. And they have now scored themselves the first try of the second half. Fraser, don't mention the ginger, but in your beard. Or don't mention the ginger in your beard. We'll get the jocks all excited, says DPG. And also we have got there France score fast, ominous for Scotland, says Brian. Yep, not what they want. A great ball though to that short side, and I mentioned about that ruck speed of Dupont, just getting that one out there as quickly as possible, and as it goes a little bit more one-sided, we may see tactics start to change just a tad for France. They may look to be that little bit more aggressive. Does anyone else decide in their head what everyone sounds like when they type a comment? Says Kerr, I try to a little bit when people have said they're from a certain region, but then you hear them talk and then you think, oh, well, that's not what I expected. But I think I've only heard about maybe 5 subscribers' voices. Somewhere around there. So it's not a huge number. Like, you guys hear me talk a lot, but I do not hear you talk, which is interesting. We should have like text-to-speech or something. Be quite cool. A kick is successful from France. Now extending the lead to 10 points, 20 points to 10. France just got into 5th gear. They did. They decided to go short side to to Damien Pinot, who isn't normally out of the woods too quickly. Trying to think if you have heard mine. I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Have you got Scottish accent? I would assume a little bit. Yeah, I think probably only about 5 or so we have heard. And come on, Scotland, says Blues Nate. And also making a mistake against France and they'll make you pay, says Geza. Certainly in the second half, it seems like they took a little bit to get used to the fact that they made those 13 changes, but from there, seems like the strategy is certainly back in play. That looked like a shove from one of the French players to randomly knock a Scottish man down. Now Dupont looking to run it back with a quick tap taken or quick line out. Ramos on the outside, inside ball across. And this is a great chance. Charles Olivon. It's another try for France now. What a start to the second half. 2 tries in 4 minutes. I don't know what to say. It's just been draw and pass at its finest. Oh my God. Says Brian, I sound like an Irish George Clooney, my twin. Says DPG. And roll the R's a mean. Says Nazi Williams, 6th gear, says Yvonne. Yeah, they've just managed to get the turbo going. For the French, Dupont is no Johnny Sexton or JPG. Or sorry, JGP, I should say. Great work from Charles Olivon. Scotland now making Ireland and South Africa feel safe for the Rugby World Cup. Well, strategy, I guess. Come out firing in that first game because it's actually South Africa. Do they play Scotland in the first game? I think they do. Even the French choked. Says Albert and Jameson gives him Park. Says Kevin and I was going for the second Nazi. Says Blues nay. Now it's kicked over. 27 points to 10. 17 points difference. Best fly up in the game. Says Kevin there. Wait for Jameson gives him Park. Or I assume you're talking Sexton. And Scots need to dig deep or it'll be embarrassing, says Yvonne. And Hamish, what do you reckon? Should the box start Willemse or Lebok at 10 or Lebok? Willemse has proven that he's better at 15, so if they're going to start him, he's got to be at 15. But then saying that, Willie Leroux hasn't been doing too much wrong, so they might look at him and then have Damien Willemse off the bench. Taking nothing for granted. That's okay, Yvonne. Oh, we don't get embarrassed. We have no shame. No shame, says Kerr. And also we have got there, my mate was asked to leave a pub in Scotland some years ago because he's a Campbell, says David. Nicely taken. Oh, the ball's gone completely flat. That is... What's happened there? He's kicked the ball, Dupont. We knew he had a decent boot on him, but he's kicked it completely flat. New ball available. He must feel very deflated. Says Brian. And they're lucky Darcy boy not playing. The noodles too good. Says Blues nay. But that is something that hopefully won't happen throughout the Rugby World Cup. Ball ending up completely deflated from a kick. Will Arinsa be starting? Will it be Colby / Mapimpi, says Jimmy? I think they'll give Arinsa a little bit of a chance at 11 during a couple of the games, but I think in the big match-ups they'll probably go Mapimpi just because of that previous experience. And how that happens, says Geza. Yeah, it's the first time I've seen it, that is for sure. Now it's going to be fed into the scrum for Scotland. It's wheeling again. They're being told to use it. Nicely picked up by Jack Dempsey. Wrestled down by his opposite number, Gregory Aldred. Fired across Finn Russell now. Out to Hugh Jones. Space starting to open now for Scotland. Another knock on from Duan van der Merwe. And they'll go back for another scrum. From a Sappho, I think Richie Moonga is without a doubt the best 10 in the game. At the moment, followed by Roman Interback. Says not everyday cultist. And taking the ear out of the game, says DPG. And deflated Scottish ball, maybe, says Kevin. But again, handling errors. It was penalties in the first half. It's catching the ball in the second. And it's resulted in France just having a lot of the ball, a lot of momentum. I've got their interesting history, David. Some good explainers on YouTube. And I was pumped for this game, says DPG. Unlike that ball. 5 handling errors from Scotland. 3 for France. Scotland need to stop trying to force it, slow the game down, says Geza. I think the tricky thing is, with the amount of pressure that France are able to create in that breakdown, they do seem to be slightly hesitant to allow the ball to touch the ground, Scotland. And I think in that case, it's also hurting them. And Vive la France, says Rebel. And it was strange for South Africa to take 4 scrum halves to the Rugby World Cup and then leave Emma Ruiz or a third hooker out. I think they're relying on Dion Fourie, aren't they, as that third hooker option. Nicely stolen there by Finn Russell. Came out of nowhere. Got the ball back. And now Van der Merwe dropped the ball. He's got butterfingers at the moment. That's twice in the last minute. That Duan Van der Merwe's put the ball down. Now Dupont consider going for the 50-22 and they'll go back again for another scrum. Looks like some sort of injury here though for Settleby. I hope it's nothing too serious. Like I mentioned, most games we're seeing at least one injury per team per game throughout these Rugby World Cup warm-ups. Yeah, he doesn't look too flash at the moment. Oh, this game one-sided. Was a good first half. Or was the first half any good? It was. It was actually 13 points to 10 at half-time, Dennis. So it wasn't half or it wasn't one-sided then. It's just this lasted a while. We're seeing a lot more of France with the ball in hand. Richie Moong, incoming DMAC, says Blues Nate, and they rely on Fourie, but he hasn't played hooker at international level as of yet. At the Stormers, he hasn't played hooker in years. So he's not your everyday cultist. And Scotland can't play slow. They are the best with fast-paced, broken field games, but sadly, France likely the world's best at broken field rugby. I think I saw something about Faf being a backup fly half. It could be an option. I know that Grant Williams is also talked about as being an option on the wing if they do need it. Now the change being made for France. It looks like it will be Jean-Baptiste Grue to make his way out. Missed our first half. Aceto Corsa. Oh, it's too good to stop, says Cited. Now, I'm going to sound like an idiot, but that's the one with the motorbikes, isn't it? If I'm not wrong, or is it actually... No, it's bikes, not cars, I think. And Scotland are overrated. Even in the Six Nations last week, they played B French team. Says Reyes. That's what they want you to think. How much time left? Still another 32 minutes remaining in this contest. So still a relatively long time. Now Eldred passes off to Dupont. It's a bit loose, but nicely picked up by, I believe it was Villiers. And then Thomas Ramos ends up with it. Good tackle made. France, though. Anytime they've used this backline, they've looked dangerous. They've gone to the short side with the lobby pass. Over the top, Damien Penaud kicks it in behind. Trying to claim that one is into Mac. It rolls forward. I believe that will be a knock-on from Roman into Mac. But Nick Berry wants to go upstairs. Cars sim racing, says Cited. And we have got there Scotland should or could still come back. Decent time left. Right, they're checking. They've said they've got the grounding, but I believe it was knocked on from Intermac as he rolled through to try and claim that ball. On-field decision as a try. Wait. On-field decision try. So they're thinking maybe Intermac did not knock this ball on. Maybe. We have to wait and see. So Damien Penaud kicked it in behind. They're trying to say maybe Ali Price, although that looks like maybe Intermac. He's definitely flat, but they've said he's behind. So it is going to be chicken now, just a little bit further forward. Knock on from Intermac. And it's going to be no try. Knock on for sure, says Brian. And also Scotland need a try, says Yetta there. And Scotland need a try, says Yetta. And Scotland scrum, says Bradley. Yep, knock on there from France. 5 metres out from the line. It's going to be Scotland with the scrum. Who will be the dark horse in the World Cup? For me, Argentina, says DPG. I think Argentina will go relatively well throughout the World Cup. To be honest, it's probably anyone on that Pool C and Pool D side of the draw, because if you can get through that group stage, the opposition side is expected to go far, whether that's New Zealand, Ireland, France, or South Africa, whereas that side's being a little bit underestimated. So perhaps that could be the side where we see someone make it quite far, but they are just showing settled by, unfortunately, a little bit of an injury. So he did have to make his way off the field, and Jean-Baptiste Grue did make his way out there to replace him. And not a dark horse, but Wales and Australia need to be wary of Georgia. Says Gareth, Georgia, very strong side. And that's the thing. They got themselves a pretty big win over Romania recently. So it'll be interesting to see how Italy-Romania goes, because if it is close, then maybe Georgia are even that little bit further ahead than some people expected. Yuni Antonio now making his way out onto the field. That is going to also be in that front row, and Pierre Bugret, the other man. Fiji says Rees. Will France go back to number 2 if they win? They must be close. It's going to be a free kick now for Scotland. Yet again, too much lean. So they will now look to just kick this one for touch with Finn Russell. France will throw the kitchen sink at the scrum. Scotland need a pegging after the second half, says Kerr. That is a great kick downfield. Ramos decides to take it quickly. We'll kick it back downfield towards... Oh, that's got a big, steep, stiff bounce, and it will go too far from France and Ramos. And now Scotland will have themselves a scrum right down where Ramos kicked it from, which will be about 30 metres out from the French line. Territory battle this time does go the way of the away side. France will take the cup easy for the French at home, just getting into gear, says Michael. Hamish, do you know what pegging is? Says Gareth. I've heard of it, I believe. I think I know what it is. Maybe, yeah. Why is my arm missing? Yeah, I could almost get... that arm is almost completely invisible. And Georgia need to be moved into Tier 1. Says Yvonne, and Scotland have to score soon. Says Brian. Yeah, they've only got 30 minutes remaining on the clock, which does still sound like plenty of time. But I would say in 30 minutes' time, we're almost going to be completely invisible. Now, Ali Price fires it across. Short ball from Sione Tuipulotu, who I just don't think we've seen enough of throughout this game. Ali Price kicks it in behind, and it goes out maybe about 7 metres from the French line. Not a bad kick. Ramos is a great player, but he is no Hugo Keenan, says DPG. And also we have got there, Scotland don't have good squad depth. Can't perform for 80 minutes to win games, says Alfie. Nick Berry says he's not going to let that one go. He needs a straight line before taking it quickly. European teams not looking like scrumming too well. It's like they don't have, or they don't put any emphasis on that phase of set play like the Boks do. You like the photo? Back to the Future, says Kurt. Another movie that sadly I have not seen. Yeah, I do look like I'm a ghost at this point. No. In fact, I'll probably be better off without a green screen. It might actually work a little bit better and just have the rest of the room as the background. We might do that. This is going to be very risky. This is quite a big green screen. Got to try and push it down. Go like that. Go like that. Like that. There we go. Kind of, not really. We'll stick that there. Maybe, not really. That'll do. We'll just have that as the background instead. I get a black backdrop. It's an option, I guess. Although this, I guess overall, it's not like too bad of a background. To have your delusional if you think Hugo Keenan is more dangerous fullback than Thomas Ramos. What's for breakfast, says David. I have not actually decided that just yet. I think probably a banana. Isn't very exciting, but it's all right. Now, nice run forward from Kyle Stain. Now, Russell bumps off into Mac, his opposite number, but then he knocks the ball on. Jonathan Dante now putting the boot downfield. Nicely taken by Duan van der Merwe. No option to be able to pass. He does go into touch. Hamish, get a bit of colour on your walls, says DPG. Use the green screen to cover the window. It would be all right, although I don't think it will work too well in terms of staying up there. Now France, 15 metres out from the line with Dupont. Finds the offload to Galfiku. Does another step. Dupont goes to Ramos. Short ball to Cameron Wookie. 6 metres from the line. This is just looking a little bit too similar to what we saw earlier on in this half of France putting together those phases, and then I believe they will look to shift it out to the left. Although over the ball, penalty won by Jamie Ritchie. Looks like Intermac might be injured here. He's going to be coming from the field. What city are you from? I've done a working holiday visa in New Zealand back in 2014, based in Wellington, says Jimmy. So myself, I am from, I guess the easiest way of describing it is halfway in between Christchurch and Dunedin. Just in terms of location, they will kick that one way downfield, and it's gone into touch. Brilliant kick. Now, is that a 50-22? It might be. And Roy Gard has scored, or to score first debuts try in the Rugby World Cup, says Kerr. Yeah, I was very happy to see that he made his way into that side. It will go nicely with the number 9 on the back of the Hurricanes kit. Will look quite cool. And Kiwi lads in golds, maroon hoodies for the Queenslander, says Blues Nate. Nah, it's just a Puma hoodie there. No bias involved. Or involved, I should say. I'm brilliant from DuPont, says Brian. Let's have a GoFundMe to get a bit of colour into Hamish's home and life. There's a red Xbox controller down there. There's a bit of colour. I called it, says Kerr. You did. And I'm glad to see that he got that chance. I was surprised that they didn't go with Weber. That's a good run from Duan van der Merwe. He's hung on to the ball this time, or at least at this stage. Now moving to only 10 metres out. Villiers, though, gets over the ball and wins the penalty for France. Every breakdown. They are brutal. I need more Kiwi Lad merch, says Kerr. I actually wore my Kiwi Lads cap to the rugby yesterday, although no one recognised it as such, but I had the TKL on the head. And no stress, only Jalabert to replace him, says Gareth. And they should get rid of names on the back of the jerseys, says Yeda. Do they have? Oh, yeah, no, France have the names, don't they? And Villiers Leroux, best number 15 since Christian Cullen. I had a girlfriend from Kirikiri, her name's Michelle. Say help if you know her, says David. And injuries free, says Nate. And Scotland effed up again. Yeah, unfortunately, France were just too quick into that breakdown. Getting the turnover. Now Bugarit throwing the ball in, slap back onto the side. I see that George Horn is now on the field rather than Ali Price, who has been taken off. And Horn gets it across to Russell. Now Tui Pilotu trying to run at Jonathan Dante, who has been able to shut him down pretty quickly. Plenty colour, better the old way. We can see the pitch, says Michael. It's gone backwards. King Horn able to clean up, though. You pulled out of that. And Cullen from Twilight Movies says Kerr nicely kicked towards the touchline. Ramos just keeps it in the field of play. Back down to the 22. It's become a territory battle between these two sides at the moment. Now Kyle Stain, Kinghorn, got 2 men on the outside. It's gone into touch. It was forward. And now France again will have themselves another scrum. But yeah, I'd have to work out what other types of Kiwi Lad stuff. I've still got your bottle here, Kerr. Kept it with me the whole time. Nice little yellow on it. Sounds like a school bell. From, of course, when I was back at school, before anyone tries to say anything. 17 points difference, though, between these two sides. 27-10. It's going to be tricky for Scotland to get back into this contest, and I think that is something that is slowly hitting the coaches, as they are down by a lot of points. Good night, all. Scott's done. I'm off to bed, says Colin, so we will see you later on. Hopefully we get to see you next week for one of the international games that are taking place. Both sides throwing it away in the 22. So people could hear you coming, says Kerr. Exactly right. I need a bell. Get a TKL one necklace that goes ding da ding da ding, or like a bright light so that people can see you in the dark. Not that I really go out in the dark, so it doesn't really matter that much. Right, a couple more subs have been made by Scotland, I do see. They've also got Sebastian on the field at 18. I think the scrum's been looking a little bit more consistent since they've made the changes. Rory Sutherland, like a leper, says DPG, and Sleep Tight says Race. All fed in now by Dupont. Holding strong at the moment at scrum time. Now off to the left, Dupont. Short ball to Damien Pinot. Play first receiver now. Aldred, he's knocked the ball, and this is counter-attack that Scotland need. On the outside, Hugh Jones goes to Kyle Steyn. Not able to get it away. I think you should get a Vuvuzela for the Rugby World Cup, says Kerr. I think that would drive people absolutely insane, wouldn't it? And Scotland have come back from big deficits in the past, but I don't see it this time. Says Brian, loose ball. Yeah, that's the thing. They came back from a deficit in the first game up against France, didn't they? They were down by about 17, which is actually what they are down by now. It's a long way to go, though. Nice run from Jack Dempsey. Finds his offload up to Sebastian. Back across to the right. Finn Russell looks for the kick on behind. And Hugh Jones chases after it. Is unable to make the tackle. Ramos now looks for the touchline. Duan van der Merwe stays in the field of play, slings it across to Finn Russell. I think the crowd were maybe asking for a forward pass there. Russell kicks downfield and does get it into touch, about 30 out from the line. Looking forward to being with you guys next week when the Boks get going. Go the Bok, says Colin. And yeah, I should mention next video on the channel, I believe, will actually be a Springboks squad prediction or a lineup prediction for that game up against Wales, so be sure to check that out. We will be announcing the lineup as soon as it is put out there also. Yeah, that game next week, going to be a very interesting one. See how they end up going, not against a team of this quality, says Geza. Oh yeah, I've got their Boks will get ripped apart by Ireland in a few weeks, says DPG, and Scotland don't have to grunt from number 6 to 9. Says Michael, although to be fair, Jack Dempsey, I feel, in this game hasn't been too bad. It's just, we've hardly seen Richie and we've hardly seen Dash. We have got there, well, I send you a few buckets of paint here. Green, white and gold. Will look great as the background, says Dennis. I mean, it is very white, isn't it? To be fair, although that is just because the renovations. We've got, like, paintings up on those walls. That one's of a mountain. That one's of a train coming out of a second story of a building and a swear word up in the top corner. But we didn't have that on that wall. A perfect colours, Dennis, says DPG. Nicely taken at the front by Cameron Walkie. Aldrich puts it back into the pocket. And Dupont smashes it downfield. Kyle Steyn inside of his 22. I'll put up high. Nicely taken by Ramos. He had no pressure on him whatsoever, so now can run it back to the halfway line. Ball is dropped again. Penalty advantage in favour of Scotland. Running onto this one. Here comes Finn Russell. Inside ball to Duan van der Merwe. He has found himself straight running at Flemont. Did slow him down. A big run from Sebastian. This is the best positioning Scotland have had in quite some time out there on the field. 25 metres out. Horn goes across now to Dash. Hugh Jones pins the ears back. Running straight at Damien Pinot, but Jonathan Dante is the man who stops him. To the right, Horn. Is it off to Sebastian? 22 metres out. 6 phases in a row now for Scotland. They are yet to drop the ball. Big shot from Aldrich. Driving him back. Horn now across to Sebastian. Quick rushing up from Antoine Dupont. Horn goes to Russell. Skip pass. Out to Hugh Jones now. Brilliant run from him. Sending the defenders the wrong way. He's 2 metres out from the line. Pinot getting on it. And he isn't able to get the turnover. Now out to the wing. Duan van der Merwe scores the try for Scotland. And they're back in the match. Their first try of the second half. Van der Merwe. It's the run-in for him. Are they going upstairs for this? Did I hear Nick Berry saying that he might check something? And here Scott's trying to make this interesting. They did it. Scotland, says Brian. And they're not pushing to the max for this game, so it's kind of hard to judge who will get the upper hand when the tournament starts, says Cited. And also under the table, emptying the Irish bank, says Blues Nate. But they were just short. Brilliant defence from Damien Pinot to be able to drag down, I believe it was the run from Hugh Jones, and he just wasn't quite there, but then fired it out to the left. Duan van der Merwe was calling for it. Great wide pass from Sam Skinner, I think it was. It looks like now Duan van der Merwe and Jonathan Dante both going off the field with injuries here. So that does not look too flash. Dante looks like he's got something either in the rib cage, something in the midsection. That one has not quite gone over from Finn Russell, just wide of the left post, and thank God they have scored like them Scots. Says Dennis. And also it is Jimmy and a couple of micronations. That is it, says DPG. Jonathan Dante, he will be taken off. I believe that will be for... Oh. Actually, they could go with Maxime Luthu, or they may actually look at going with the youngster Lewis from last week. Flamand also taken off the field. That is for Sekou Makalu. And Skinner pass, yes, says Brian there. And bloody hell, I want to go to bed now. I have to stay up, says Colin. Yeah, they're trying to start that comeback. They are still down by 12, but there is still time remaining. What is the local time in France, by the way? Does anyone know? So I assume that this is a relatively late night game, maybe 8:30 p.m. currently that it is happening. Run forward from Ollie Smith, his first touch. Back into the pocket to Finn Russell. Does boot it down the middle of the field. Ramos fires it across, very flat pass to Villiers to the halfway line. Ball around the side now for Leo Jean-Baptiste Gru. France looking to fire back straight away here. Little kick him on from Dupont. Trying to get cheeky with it. Ball knocked backwards for Scotland. Nicely cleaned up by Hugh Jones, who puts the boot of his own. That looks like it's going out on the full. Yes, it is. And 10:35 p.m. in France. Geez, that is a very late game to have. In Dublin, though, does have the best name for a kebab company. Abra Kebabra, says DPG. And the whole pint of Guinness in Temple Bar, Dublin, is a scandalous price. And morning, Amish, any red or yellow cards? We've just seen the one yellow card for Ali Price. Other than that, we haven't seen too many. Nothing compared to that last game between England and Wales when we saw 4 yellows and 1 red card throughout it. Yeah, quite a late game for local time, I guess. And the same is going to be for the next contest, which is taking place between France and Fiji next weekend. A clock in the background would be nice, so we can see what time you're talking about in New Zealand time, says Robert. So it is currently 8:37 a.m. New Zealand time. The clock is on that wall, so it's actually just out of shot. Now, Dupont going off to the right. Chaleureux recently coming onto the field. Was at Zlin in Eastern Czech Republic 2 weeks ago. Was in Zlin, sorry. And £1.20 a pint. Now another big run from the French blindside flank. But that'll be a penalty against Galfiku for taking the man off the ball. I don't say the score for England. I want to watch it later, no worries. Sorry about the disclaimer of the yellow cards and whatnot, though. And Abra Kebabra is a franchise in Ireland, Deadly Kebabs. I'm wondering whether or not with this last 14 minutes of the game, they were talking about the heat, 27 degrees Celsius. It's probably about 24 now that it is a little bit later on, but still going to be definitely taxing on the players. And £1.70 in our post office, says Paul. Now McAnally. Looks like there's going to be more changes for snake's sakes. Hit the likes for you, says Blues Nate. Anyone who is new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We've got plenty more coming. Next weekend, 3 live streams, all on Sunday morning New Zealand time, as well as the Barbarians taking on Samoa. That will be on Saturday morning. Gregory Aldrit now making his way off. I believe that will be for... What's that going to be for? Because I thought that Chaleureux had already made his way onto the field. And same with Sekou Makalu. Now 13 minutes remaining. Who's refereeing this game, mate? I hope the TMO is not ruining the game. So it is, at this stage, Nick Berry. The referee, nice wide pass here from Scotland. Goes out to Kinghorn, now Kyle Stain. Drives it to 22 metres out again. That was a late shot. That would have to be an advantage, I would think, in Scotland's favour. Referee, though, yet to do so. The ball's gone back. Hugh Jones, he's had a very good game at number 13, being able to break through quite a few tackles. Bergeret looks for the breakdown. Now able to turn it over. Now, Sione Tuipulotu tackled. Horn goes across to the right. Good step there for Tuipulotu, almost through the gap. Seku Makalu, they're playing advantage here. So it will be the penalty now for Scotland. Now spin. They've taken the quick tap here. Scotland over the line. It's another one. And they will score in the form of the number 7, Rory Darge. The Scottish comeback is on, ladies and gentlemen. They're doing it all over again, just like the last game taking place at Murrayfield. And 120 is great, says Brian. And what's everyone's diesel's prices? Sure, it's cheaper over there. Says Blues now. I think we're about $2 something here in New Zealand, if I'm not wrong. And Scotland over, says Lord 7th. Rory Darge scores the try. This will be a relatively easy kick as well. And with 12 minutes remaining, Scotland back in the contest. Still have time left. We like to entertain, says Kieran, and it's certainly going to be an entertaining finish to this game. It seems like France have lost their mojo that they had about 15 minutes or so ago. What time will be the France versus Fiji game next week? So it is a 7:05 a.m. kickoff here in New Zealand. So the same time that this game started for this one. 22 points to 27. Rory Darge getting the Scots back into this contest. A nice try, Scotland. Yeah, boy, it looks like Dupont now coming off the field. That'll be for Luku, who will make his way out there fighting Scotland. Scottish coming back. True, cheaper than ours for real, says Blues Nate. Nicely taken there from Scotland. Jack Dempsey finds the offload away to Rory Sutherland. And come on, Scotland, dig in, says Dennis. Are France just playing badly, or Scotland actually good, says Mark Steele? I think Scotland in the second half have had some very good moments. The difference is they aren't giving away a massive amount of penalties. Great take there, though, from Thomas Ramos. In the first half, we saw 10 penalties against Scotland. In the second half, maybe only about the 3. And the handling has been a lot better also. France look tight, fitness not up to it, says Yvonne. It's going to be another knock-on from France. The handling really hurting them here. Now Horn goes back to Finn Russell, cutting across to Hugh Jones. I want to make a huge amount of metres for Scotland throughout the second half. Horn again goes off to the left and behind Russell. Now Tuipulotu. Just have to be patient here with where they go. Looks like Horn's asking for that ball to come out the back. Inside ball again. Oh, shot to the knee. I think that may have really hurt Jean-Baptiste Grue. He might have got his head on the wrong side. Russell with the chip and chase is cleaned up by Damien Pinot now. Found the offload to Charles Olivon. This might have been a massive mistake from Finn Russell. Villiers gets back to his feet. Doesn't want to pass it. He's not going to have to. He's dropped it though. 2 metres out from the line. Some very poor defence from Scotland, partnered with some very selfish behaviour from the French winger. It was a guaranteed try if he had passed, but instead he wanted the glory, and instead he's put his team under pressure. All he needed to do was fire that one out to the left-hand side, but he just didn't want to. He thought he was going all the way. A great shot coming in. I think that was actually from Kyle Stain to knock it out of his hand. Serves them right. Says Kerr there. And Tuipulotu Scotland, no disrespect. Says Nazi Williams. And it looks like maybe there is an injury here for Sebastian. Came on at number 18. And a Celtic man, a man of culture. Says Gareth. And they won't be cheap, Jimmy. And wait, what do you do now? Come on. Says Blues now. I'm going to be in Poland for the Ireland versus Tonga and Ireland versus South Africa games. Cheap beer and scrumptious food. I can't wait, says Kevin. A metres made. We've seen Scotland almost make double the metres that we have seen from France. 679 compared to the 355. Carries, they've had about 1.5 of the carries also. They're keeping a lot more of this ball, and if they can do that throughout the last 10 minutes, this game could easily go either way between these two sides. But it's going to be a scrum feed for Scotland about 5 metres out from the line. Once the players are back to their feet, I think there's still a bit of an injury here for the French. Number, who that? I think that is maybe Bugaret, who was down for a bit longer. And love Poland, especially Lublin. Deep South, cheapest chips. And will Scotland come back again? Well, tell you what, they've given themselves the best opportunity to do so in this game. They were down by 17. They've managed to get themselves 2 tries to now be down by only the 5. And still 10 minutes left on the clock to be able to work. This game's far from over. In the wrong half, but we'll see. Says Brian, yeah, there is going to be a little bit of rebuilding for Scotland to try and get down that other end. We've seen some big scrums from France as well throughout this game already, but the ball is fed in. Jack Dempsey off the back. Now firing it across. A little bit risky here for Scotland to try and go for the backline movement, but they did want to go up towards that 22. Tackle release. Call from Nick Berry. I take this as a win. Showed enough gumption against France in France. Says Gareth. Now Horn back into the pocket to Finn Russell. He was hesitant with the kick, so he won't be able to find touch. Here comes Villiers. He passes the ball that time. Oh, no, sorry. The reason he passed it was because it wasn't Villiers. Now it's Villiers who does not pass. It's actually the number 23 who originally made that pass across field. Now Ramos, partially touched by Scotland. And Ollie Smith will look for the kick in behind. There's plenty of space. Running back. Nicely covered by France. Back down the middle of the field. Becoming a game of force back at the moment, territory-wise. Scotland have got themselves at a little bit of an advantage. Finn Russell dragged down on the halfway line, but found the offload away to Sebastian, who gets back to his feet. Out to the right here. Looks like it's going to be Jamie Ritchie. Horn. Back across to Russell. Kinghorn here. Had the pass on the outside, but decides to sell the dummy and go himself. Bugaret does make the tackle. Horn now going for the grubber. Was Kyle Stein behind? He's picked it up. They'll check it to see whether or not he was behind the kicker, but this might be the 3rd try on the trot for the Scottish here. And this gives them the opportunity to take the lead if it is good. Kyle Stein, though, his 2nd try of the match. Finn Russell on a hustle. And also penalty try, says I don't know about a penalty try, but George Horn kicked it in behind. Kyle Stein just staying in the field of play. Brilliantly done round Thomas Ramos. And also we have got the I haven't watched the live stream in a long time. Welcome back, Levi. You have been keeping well. Let's go, Kiwi lad, says Blues Nate, but Kyle Stein in with the try. Knows that he scored it. It was just whether or not he was slightly ahead for the kick. And I believe they've said it's all good. And win for Scotland. Blow final whistle now, please, and thank you, says Kerr. And awesome, says Robert Wood. Although they do still need to get this kick over, they do want to take the lead here, or else we will be sitting 27-27. Deep breaths being taken by Finn Russell. Ireland could meet France in the quarters. Good chance to get past the quarters, says Jimmy O'Brien. Are you not entertained? Says Kerr, and the kick from Russell is just away to the left, which means it remains at 27-all with 6 minutes remaining now on the clock. Doesn't get much closer than that, right down to the wire. I tell you what, Ireland and South Africa better watch out, says CK. And the AB's boys, says Blues Nate, and 27-27, says Brian, has kicked extremely long from France. Scotland inside of their own half. Kicked back by Blair Kinghorn. Down deep now. It's kicked high. Back towards the 22. Nicely taken, but finding the offload there, Scotland. Trying to keep this one alive as much as possible. Now Ramos inside of his 22 receives another kick. Looking to put this one into touch, and it is a fantastic kick from Ramos down just outside of the 22 of Scotland. And how many kicks has Russell missed? I believe he's missed 2 at this stage, if I'm not wrong. And just keeping some drama for the last 6 minutes. Says Kerr, yeah, this game, as well as England versus Wales, both going down to the wire. which is exactly what we love to see. Oh, right. It's going to be McInally. A lot of pressure on him. And 2 says Geza. Come on, Scotland, says Alexander. And compare this to the dung served up by Wales versus England. Although the end of Wales versus England was very intense as well, seeing as it was relatively close. It's just the first bit of the game didn't quite live up to those expectations. Looks like we've got a huddle going now. For Scotland, time is on. Nick Berry's warned them if they do take too much longer, they will have a free kick against them. Now, thrown to the front for McInally. Stolen by France. And now Luthu goes across here. Makalu taken out from underneath him as is led by Finn Russell. Ramos to the left here. Damien Pinot off to Villiers. You know he's not passing. 22 metres out from the line here for the French. I've just said that was the first line out that they have lost throughout the whole match. And it could be the one that cost them. That was a flat ball, almost forward, I would say. Yes, it was. And Scotland now with the advantage. McInally, nice spin. He's doing a roly-poly on the turf. Into the pocket. Wasn't the best pass to Russell. They're still playing penalty advantage, and they will go back for the original scrum. Watching this because I don't want to pay for Amazon Prime. Says Liam, well, welcome in. I hope you have been enjoying the coverage. Anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Should mention the highlights will be straight up on YouTube after this match. I'm assuming on one of the Summer Nations series channels. Scotland have no depth. Bok have 3 major players out on Ireland. We'll have a Sexton, who has no game time since March, says Jimmy O'Brien. And also look at their good game, says Blues Nate, and got Scotland plus 21 on the line. Oh, you'll be safe then. If you are hoping Scotland were within 21, 4 minutes remaining, you're safe as houses. If it was by 2.1, different story. This game can still go either way. Win, lose or draw, Scotland can leave Paris with their heads held high. Says Geza, best stream out there. Says not Solly. Thank you very much, mate. We've seen 7 scrums won by Scotland, 4 won by France, 1 lost by Scotland. They have got the feed here. So relatively likely this ball bounces out the back for them. And you're Romanian Tonga, so plenty of time, says Jimmy O'Brien. Now George Horn. Scotland, do you look to attack from your 22? Or do you instead, there's a knee down straight away on this near side. Fair bit of movement. Call from Nick Berry. How about our brutal Warriors, eh? Says Levi, yeah, they're going all right at the moment throughout the season, I do have to say, which is fantastic to see. And Russell taking some deep breaths. He's had to work hard throughout this 80 minutes. This will be one of the biggest wins of his career, I would say, up till date, to be honest. It sounds like a big call, but up against a full-strength French side in France, doesn't get much better than that. Come on, Scotland, says Knox Solly. How many world-class players do Ireland have, says DPG? Yeah, they've got a few, don't they? Niall says Timothy. Oh, penalty to France. I jinxed it for Finn Russell. But the scrum straight to ground. This will give them 3 points. That might then just about be enough, although there will still be time left on the clock, about a minute and a half at the time that this one is kicked over. Niall says Timothy, and I can't believe how much Scotland have improved in the last 5 years. Unbelievable. Says Richie. All rights are an understatement. Respectively, says it was Nazi Williams, and no, says Knox. Now Thomas Ramos from 22 metres out. The chance to give France the lead with 2 minutes left on the clock. The commentators are saying that should be game, but there will still be that little bit more time. DPG, have Ireland named their squad yet? I've heard nothing. Says Jimmy O'Brien, and yeah, both teams will be holding back because they don't want any injured players before the World Cup. 5 from 5 for Ramos. If there was ever a time to miss one, certainly not now. 25 metres out, taking a couple more steps backwards for Ramos. He's got 22 seconds remaining on the clock. 1 minute 20 remaining on the match clock, though. Ramos to take the lead back for France. Straight down the middle. 30 points to 27. 1 minute remaining, ladies and gentlemen. And it will be Scotland who do kick off to the French. Now, I believe they will consider going short here. It seems like the best option, just trying to get at the 10. This is a very important kick for Finn Russell. They do just kick at the 10, and they slap it back. Scotland get the ball, and Finn Russell now finding the offload away to Jamie Ritchie. So they've got one last crack. 40 seconds remaining. Horn going across. Big shot coming in from the French forwards playing the physical game later on in this contest. Russell, short ball again, driven backwards was Sam Skinner. Now Horn in behind to Russell, flat pass. Off to it is the big man Sebastian. Currently 40 metres out from their own line. Russell finds the pass across to Hugh Jones. Kinghorn pins the ears back, moves up to halfway. Still quite a wee way to go for Scotland at this point. Now Finn Russell. Oh, that's a tackle without the ball. That's got to be an advantage. That was quite cynical as well. Unfortunately, going to a man who now has a back injury by the looks of it. Sam Skinner. Tackle. Bourgaret tries to get over the ball. Still playing penalty advantage. The ball's knocked down and they'll go back for the penalty. But this was a rough shot right into the back and the rib cage of, I believe it was Scott Cummings. No. Who is it? Wait. Ollie Vaughan stayed down. Why has he stayed down? He's the one who did the cheap shot. Oh no, there's the other player. It's Rory Sutherland, unfortunately, who took the shot to his back. They might have another look at this because this was quite a cynical play from France. Penalty try. Not sure about penalty try from here, but it's a penalty anyway. And we have got their Scotland penalty. Says Brian, and come on Scotland. So Ollie Vaughan back up to his feet. Rory Sutherland, he will be staying down for a bit longer. They might have to have another look at this. France loses them, and they must forget about beating the All Blacks. He doesn't have the ball. Galfiku's going, so? Why can't we tackle it? And I swear if Russell misses the kick, says Yandre, no, he's too far out to be able to kick. This is from about 65 metres from the line. Oliver and Farrell to miss the World Cup. And unfortunately for Rory Sutherland, it looks like there's a chance, depending on this injury, that he might be missing it as well. Right, they've checked it upstairs and they've said that it's all right. I'm sorry, but it's a pretty rough one. Facing backwards, mile off the ball. I think Nick Berry may have just seen it and gone, hang on, that might not actually be as straightforward. But he can try for it, says Yandre. And also go for the corner, says Knox Ollie. Right, Nick Berry calls the water off, but this game is not over just yet, ladies and gentlemen. Rolling ball, says Kerr. And yeah, if they can get a big kick downfield from Finn Russell here, could be almost inside of that 22. I will mention anyone who is new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 30,000 subscribers, so if you do want to help us out, it is very hugely appreciated. We've got plenty more action next week where we are covering the game between South Africa and Wales, England taking on the Irish, and also France. They'll be taking on Fiji. And WTF off the ball, says Yvonne. Yeah, very lucky Galfiku there as the point playing he was, although he has gone off the field. I think he went off at about 72 minutes or so. Right, the time is back on. Finn Russell now to kick this one towards the touchline. Has to make sure that it goes out alongside trying to get as many metres as possible. It's a good kick down towards the 22. And now Scotland. This is their chance. I thought I was subbed. Any resubbed? Says Jimmy O'Brien. Thank you very much. And if I was Scott, I would go for the drop kick from here. Although I think Scotland, their mentality is they want the win here. They've travelled all this way. They've put in a hard fight. They don't want to walk away with the same points as France. I think they're going all or nothing. Right, France, wrong number of men in the line out. So they had to change it. Now, nicely taken by Scotland. It's gone down. Oh, it's a knock on from Scotland at line-out time. And France, they will walk away with the victory. 30 points to 27. An incredibly close game. But in the end, Olivon able to have a captain's touch of the ball there to help it forward. It's going to have it up, says Tinyman. And also All or Nothing, says Knox. And also, we have got there 30,000, bro. You're the biggest YouTuber, not just in Waimea, but possibly South Island, says Nazi. I don't know about that. I feel like there'll be a few bigger ones in the South Island. Definitely for Waimea, though, seeing as we've only got like 4,000 people. Quite a few bollocks, says Kerr there. Long all this way, only an hour flight. I've had longer flights, although I wasn't referring to the length of travel. I was referring to the grit and the grind that they've had to put through for the 80 minutes in this fixture. Because they were out of it. 17 points down, Scotland. But they were able to fire back to get within a grasp of winning. Only the 3 points. Thanks for the great commentary, mate. Unlucky to have us, for us, to lost to their best team. This time not their C team, just sub. Thanks, Hamish. Says Knox and Scottish. Well, I'm Scottish, but not today. Says to my man. And thanks for the commentary. Says Tommy, no worries at all. Thank you very much for being here. And so many positives for Scotland to take from this game. Exactly right. They've proven more than a lot of people expected in terms of how they would compete up against this French side. The fact that they were only back by 3 in the end, I think they'll be relatively happy. Fire commentary, Hamish. Says audio. Thank you very much, mate. Usually appreciate it. They are just showing highlights of the Wales versus England game that is about to take place. Hard luck, Scotland. Nearly cost me another try, says Brian. And you were great, Irish. Thanks for your company and great commentary. Thanks. I've enjoyed sitting in the sun listening with my beer, says DPG. Well done, Scotland. So who have you bucks? Or who have you got your bucks on to win the World Cup? To be honest, it's a very tricky World Cup. Probably the hardest of all of them to predict. So there are so many sides that have got a relatively decent chance. Thank you, Hamish. Love your positive attitude. I'm good on it. But just a reminder to keep that positive energy up, says Nuzzy Williams. And there, and thanks for the commentary. Much appreciated, says Colin. Bravo, Scotland, says Connor. And plus, they left 4 points out there, says Geza. Yeah, there's still improvement. Like, they gave away 10 penalties throughout that first half. And I think that is something that they'll certainly look at as drastically needs improved. Handling errors weren't great, but they seem to get a little bit better as the game progressed. For France, they'll be looking at this game as, okay, we got a little bit lucky. We should have won by more at times. But yeah, they still did enough. They dug deep, which is what you need. And thanks, mate. Scotland won't beat the box, says Albert. Not impressed by this French team, says Lord. 7th box won't beat Ireland, says DPG. We are second half marches, says Knox. Oh, yeah, being down by 17 twice, being able to fire back. Are you doing Portugal versus USA? Says Factor Fable. We are not, sadly. They aren't showing that game here in New Zealand that I know of. But, yeah, I'll probably end up keeping an eye on a scoreboard for it and see how it goes. Thanks for your commentary, brother, says Parava. Thank you very much. And Scotland might well be good enough to beat the box, says Brian. And there, yeah, it's going to be interesting. But there are a few games taking place. Next week, ABs won't beat France, says Albert. I'm hearing a lot of won'ts from you, Albert. I feel like you're very confident in what you believe in. Yeah, let's see whether or not you will be correct when that World Cup comes around. Wales and South Africa, they are playing next week, 2:15 a.m. Georgia, USA at 3. Ireland versus England at 4:30 a.m. Also taking place at that same time. Italy versus Romania. And then France versus Fiji, 7:05 a.m. Same time as this game. And should also be a very entertaining one. I'm looking forward to seeing the Flying Fijians in action in the Northern Hemisphere. Just because we've seen them in the Pacific Nations Cup. They got themselves the win over Japan in Japan. They've got a lot of talent. This match showed France aren't as formidable as they should be, says Parava. France just rusty, says Albert. And thanks, mate, only for you. I never get to hear them games. Thanks, or keep doing it, and thanks, says Dennis. And thanks, Hamish. Catch you all later, says Gazan. Italy to shock France and knock them out. Ireland versus France in the final. Hear me now, believe me later, says Factor Favour. And Vanaka H says Robbie T in the chat as well. But I do thank you all very much for tuning into this live stream. Like I mentioned, next week we've got plenty more action on the channel. We're also doing the Barbarians versus Samoa. That will be taking place on Saturday morning New Zealand time. So it will be Friday night for a lot of you guys from the Northern Hemisphere. We've got our previews and whatnot that's coming out next week. Lineup videos will be on the channel as well. Thank you for the commentary. Really appreciate it. Says Video Vibes. Factor Fable, Ireland. I have to get past the quarters first, says Jimmy O'Brien. But nonetheless, thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you all for the next one.